talking about podcast. We're talking about podcast. Podcast.
Woof.
Woof. Woof indeed, dude.
It's a podcast.
It is a podcast today. It's your podcast.
Your favorite podcast's favorite podcast. Two Chunks
That's
and a
us.
Hunk.
That's us.
As
All
long
the
as your favorite
podcasts that
podcast is
you
us, then this is your
actually
favorite
like.
podcast's favorite podcast.
They like us.
This is us. Jordan, Doge, Carter, and Mandy Moore.
And Jess from Gilmore Girls.
And Jess from Gilmore Girls.
Jess from Gilmore Girls is also there.
And Peter Petrelli from Heroes died from a toaster.
R.I.P., man.
Is that also Jess from Gilmore Girls?
Yeah. Jess from Gilmore Girls actually plays every role.
What?
No, it's Peter Petrelli from Heroes.
Dude, I have never watched Heroes. I've never watched a single ounce of Heroes, and you know this.
I didn't know this. The first season of Heroes is pretty great and pretty fun.
I remember
That's
it
good.
being a big deal.
Yeah.
it
Save the
kinda
cheerleader,
ended
save the world,
abruptly.
dude. Yeah, it just got bad.
Hayden Panettiere was a big deal for a long time. I feel like she was popping up in all kinds of stuff.
She was a
And then-
cheerleader, and if you
No, I
select
know
her,
that.
you
That's
save
why
the
I
world.
brought it up. I wasn't just like, you know what else I thought about?
You know what's crazy?
While we're on the subject of just thinking. I'm Jordan.
I'm Doge. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Who's there?
Ho, ho.
Ho ho. Who?
Ho, ho, who?
Your Santa impression could really use a little work.
And
That's
Carter's
pretty
here
funny.
also.
That's pretty funny. I'm Carter. And have I ever shown y'all how to call a turtle?
Is that a quote or a genuine
No.
question?
Genuine question.
I
Have
don't
I shown
think
you
so.
a turtle call?
I don't know if you have.
I'll ask first, can either of you make like the train noise that you can when you put your two hands together? That it's like
no.
I like blow like a whistle? No, I can't.
okay, that's fine. It's like that. I'll show you after how to do your fingers. I know it's not best for the podcast, but listeners, imagine as if you are weaving your fingers together in a creative way to call the neighborhood turtles over. But I'll show you this. I learned this from my grandfather.
Hey, turtle!
It's very simple. I'll show that to anybody that comes to the Two Chunks Movie Club. Showing of
Stupid.
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. This is
Great
turtle call.
content for our audio podcast, dude. This is so funny to hear.
Oh, man. That's not even the biggest news out there that you can now call any turtles. They'll come.
I think
But there's-
it might, as I'm thinking about all the news, that might be the smallest news out there.
It's not even the biggest.
Dude, then I'm
Here's
in
what's
for a
crazy.
treat because I'm going in blind, apparently. I thought that was the biggest thing.
There's a handful of things I want to talk about. There's certain things that I'm excited for. I want to get y'all's opinion on. There's some things that I'm not excited for, which is kind of rare for me, I think. I'm usually kind of like, shoot your shot. But there's something that's been initially offensive, I would say, for me. But first, let's talk about old Jimmy Gunn has given us a photo of our new Superman. What do we think? Have you glanced it? What are your thoughts there?
I saw it for the first time about 5 minutes ago. I didn't know that it had been released. And my first thought was, I like it. The suit looks cool. And it looks different. I'm glad we're not getting like same suit over and over again. Same way I felt about Spider-Man Civil War suit the first time, where it's like, as much as I love the Tobey Maguire suit and the second Amazing Spider-Man suit, I'm just glad that we're not doing that again. I'm glad we're doing something different. My second thought was, I also found out at the same time that I found out the picture was released that apparently a bunch of people didn't like it, to which I said, why?
I think it looks great. The trunks are back. This Superman wears his underwear on the outside.
Good. I wish they were boxers, but do your thing, man.
What if it's a thong? What if it's just
Even cooler.
What if it's just blue cheeks in the back instead of red cheeks?
Have y'all seen anything with David Cornsweet? Cornsweet?
No,
not Cornsweet.
His trainer listed him as 6'6". I'm pretty sure he's 6'4", but he even in this image looks like a big boy.
Yeah, he's an excellent actor. I think we've talked
Good.
about this on the podcast, but I was really excited to hear that he's playing the role. He definitely has the jawline for it. I think that'll always be something you need. That's everything that a Superman has always had is a good strong jaw. But I'm excited for it. I still believe that James Gunn is going to be who brings DC back, and it's such a unique situation. There was also some Marvel news recently. So Fantastic Four has cast their Galactus. Did you hear about this?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Ralph Ineson is going to be Galactus. Okay. So I didn't even know Galactus was confirmed as the villain for the Fantastic Four movie. IMO, if it's Galactus, maybe this is our Marvel replacement for Kang. You know, it's like Galactus is a pretty big deal, right? That's a big bag.
Yeah.
One of the biggest.
One of the biggest deals. I'm so sorry, and I hate that I'm this way. I just can't care. I don't know.
It's hard to, isn't it?
I think they've got a bit of an uphill battle. And honestly, like a couple of Marvel execs, Kevin Feige included, in the last week have given publicity being like, you'd have to be living under a rock to not realize that the last couple times we tried to put a movie out, it hasn't really gone so great. We're not doing awesome and not making the kinds of good movies we used to make. And so they've paused their output. The only Marvel thing that's coming out this year is Deadpool 3. Mm-hmm. They've committed to being like, we're doing no more than I think they said no more than 2 movies and 2 shows every year going forward. We're not going to have that same
still too
post-COVID flood of Marvel. I agree that's still too much, but I think I said this on a previous episode. I think Deadpool 3, if we can camp out here for a second and return to our headlines in just a minute.
Yeah.
I think Deadpool 3 is going to be good, and I think people are setting themselves up for disappointment in the same way they were for Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. When everybody was like, oh, there's going to be all these cameos. I heard Tobey Maguire is going to be in it. I heard Jennifer Garner is going to be in it as Electro. I heard that Jessica Alba's Invisible is going to be in it. And it's like, I don't think any of that stuff is happening. And if you're like, I don't know, people are, at least what I've seen online, people are like, this is going to be the multiverse movie that we've been waiting for this whole time. And it's like, I don't think that it is.
No, I mean, I would love to see a Brolin Cable. Like, that'd be fun.
Sure. Yeah.
A lot of that news feels like every time I hear it, it's like, I heard this. And it feels like if you push, it would be like, where'd you hear it from? Because I want it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I want that to happen so bad.
It's never been what the Deadpool makers are about. I think the whole reason we're getting what I believe to be fake set leaks about something that looks like multiverse type stuff is because they know that people think that. I think they're just feeding it. I don't know. Even if they do it, I think they could pull something off. I mean, the fact that Hugh is here finally, because we talked about it for 15 years, is pretty wild. But I don't know. Galactus. He's the big one. He's the big beetle-looking guy. Is that
he's got a big purple hat and he eats planets.
Big planet eater. Okay.
Uh-huh. They also cast John Malkovich. Did you see this?
No.
In an unnamed role. They haven't revealed who he is. I think John Malkovich is probably the voice of Herbie, their robot, which is a great choice for that. I actually really love that a lot.
That's fun. I didn't even know they had a robot. I need to get educated.
They do, and it's John Malkovich.
Because I
Herbie.
want it to be.
That's who it'll be.
I don't know. Again, I think I'll see Deadpool. I'll see whatever. I think they'll probably all be fine. But I just the version of me from 8 years ago, 7 years ago, even 6 years ago, that would have been like positively geeked about all of this news. The spark has left.
Yeah.
With regards to basically all things Disney touches.
It's tough.
They could announce the coolest looking Pixar movie ever, and I'd be like, I'm gonna wait because I bet it's a 6.
They are working on The Incredibles 3 currently. They just revealed
Sure.
that this past week.
Sure, good. More sequels. Yay! Do more sequels.
That is
I am excited for
Disney,
Inside Out too, but whatever.
Disney has recently said that we're going to spend the remainder of the 20s, or a good chunk of the 20s, focusing on sequels and established IP. To their version of that is to get back in audiences' good graces. And it's like, I don't think that not making sequels is what got you out of audiences' good graces.
No.
Nope. The thing that's causing them to think that sequels are the answer is what got them out of audiences' good graces. It's that the creativity at Disney has gone. It has just left.
What's the opposite of good graces? If I'm trying to say like someone's not in your good graces.
Probably bad graces.
I've never heard that.
It's because it's not a thing, I don't think. But I like it. They're in
A
my
show
bad
that has, from what I understand, maybe zero bad audience graces, audience with bad graces, is The Bear. And season 3 we knew was coming, but we did get a little teaser premiere date.
Yep.
In the land of sequels, shows are different. I think they can be. Because a television show, a lot of the times, you might be surprised that it's only going to have a single season run, which I think is what Shogun, now that I've seen all of it, could very well be.
Yeah.
Just 10 episodes. And that surprises me. But
has it caught up to the book? Is like the end of the show the end of the book?
I can't tell if you're kidding.
No, I'm serious.
There's a Shogun book?
Isn't it a book? Wasn't Shogun a book?
No idea.
Are you asking if Carter's read the book?
I also just assume that you're right, Doge. I do that a lot. Maybe it's got another season coming.
Yeah, it's based on a novel in 1975 novel, which was previously adapted into a 1980 miniseries.
Oh. What I'll do is I'll buy that novel and I'm going to read like the last chapter and then I'll be able to tell you if it's caught up or not.
Yeah.
Just drop a bomb in there. And be like, well,
Yeah, that's
don't know
fine.
any of these people. I think there's going to be another season. Bear season 3, very excited. This is one of those shows that when we get a new season, again, this is the second time this has happened outside of like the inaugural season. I get really, really excited about. Can't wait to see all these people again. There weren't really any decisions made in season 2 that made me think it was headed the wrong way. So maybe Carmi's still in the freezer for all I know. I've got no idea.
Didn't they film season 3 and 4 back to back?
These next two? Mm-hmm. I remember
that's it, right?
hearing that there were 2 seasons filmed back to back. I couldn't remember if it was 2 and 3 or 3 and 4.
I think they did 3 and 4 back to back, and then that's it. They're just going to do the 4.
Gotcha. Wow.
I think that's wise when a show starts to take off so that people can move on and do other projects and you don't end up in limbo with your final season. I think that's pretty smart.
Especially
and
with
it's reassuring because it means they have an
strike
end in
or
mind.
Pandemic. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Good
it's
on
the
them.
anti-Stranger Things where they make a whole season, then release it, and then be like, I think we should do another one of those. When's the next time everybody's free?
There's still supposed to be another Stranger Things season, right?
I kind of feel like it's not going to
The
happen.
farther we go, the more it's just going to be like It Part 2.
Yeah.
We're just going to have to wait.
they're going to
in
get
their
adult
40s.
actors to play all of
The
these
original
kids, but it's
kids-
just the kids.
I mean, the original kids are going to be like mid-20s playing high school, probably mid to late 20s playing like high school freshmen.
I mean, Gossip Girl, if you've ever seen it. XOXO.
Yeah, it's great. It's
basically what they do out
fantastic.
there. Like Carmi coming out of the freezer. I haven't seen him in a while. There's a new Office series that's been picked up by Peacock. Have you heard about this?
I do know about
And
this.
setting it up there in the Midwest, and so it feels like it's. I don't think they're trying to say like this. Here's Michael Scott again. I think it's just a show about a paper company. Probably got a bunch of dysfunctional employees.
So it's
What
about
do
a
you think-
news. It's set at a newspaper office. It is
okay.
like so. It's the same in fiction. It's the same documentary crew that did the project at Dunder Mifflin is looking for the subject of their next documentary, and so they go to a newspaper office in like Pittsburgh or something. It's still in Pennsylvania, I think.
Okay.
So cool! I can't wait for it.
I mean, Domhnall Gleeson, I love.
Yeah,
Sabrina Impacciatore, I think is her name. It's who was the manager of White Lotus season 2, who worked. She's also great. So I don't know, man. It would need to be a big enough rebrand. Is it one of those things that you just tag in the name and hoping it gets stuff? I almost would prefer that than someone just trying to do a copy and paste, find all the same static characters and do it over again.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Don't know what to think about that. I'm saving it for last because it seems to be the most egregious thing to me. This podcast, I would say, I don't want to speak on y'all's behalf, not the biggest fan of Warner Brothers, specifically with
cosign.
certain IP that maybe they own. Warner Brothers to release new Lord of the Rings movie. It is called The Hunt for Gollum in 2026. Peter Jackson to produce, Andy Serkis to direct. This
Sean
feels
Connery playing Jack Ryan.
this feels offensive to me. We talked about this in Discord. I don't tend to be like a
Yeah, you're never out on stuff. I would love you to take the lead on this. What's got your goat about this one?
This is like if Disney 15 years from now said we're going to do a Grogu movie. They're just
It's infinitely
taking,
more offensive than that to me, but yes.
It is infinitely more offensive. It is just like, it's honestly crazy that the Tolkien estate is like letting this happen.
Pause us for just a second. In 2026, Disney is releasing The Mandalorian and Grogu, a Star Wars movie. So
I think
We're
that
there.
this just needed to.
This is the right episode to have the discussion I am planning for the back half of this episode, for sure. Absolutely.
It just needed to die. Of all of the things, like Gollum's
not
Kinda
cute. Gollum is not Minions.
Well,
Like,
I'm just saying, like, so here's it's because it was like a cultural phenomenon. Gollum came, we looked at everything from like the Academy Awards to just movie making, and we're like, wait, what do we do with this? This is brand new. It's so interesting to be watching these Planet of the Apes movies right now too. To sit there and like in one frame, there's like 250 apes, and they all look real, and it's just this unbelievable. Like tech that we have in the movie business now. And here's Andy Serkis, who is like the godfather of this motion capture. And actually, we made one decision during a trilogy, and it kind of changed a character, which changed a vibe, which there was already a million things for Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings to flex on. But this was going to be something that they knew needed, like, it should have had a Lifetime Achievement Award the day it came out, right? So Gollum comes.
Yeah.
And I'm fine that we've made like Gollum video games, and I don't really care
understand
what we
the
do.
obsession with Gollum as a main character.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
it
He's
doesn't-
not cute.
it
He's
doesn't
not a
make any
mascot.
sense.
It doesn't work. He doesn't
No.
work that way.
No, he doesn't work that way at all. And so it is just so weird to me. I actually have no idea. The Hunt for Gollum sounds like not a movie. It sounds so silly. I think the title is one of the things that's most offensive to me. It's like, what is this even?
Do you know what is
Do we have
shocking?
bounty hunters?
The most cynical thing in the entire world is what has happened with this movie. The Hunt for Gollum already exists. The Hunt for Gollum is a fan film from 2009 that got like pretty good attention because it was well done, shot in HD, budget of $5,000. It's set during the time span of the Fellowship of the Ring, just before Frodo leaves the Shire for Rivendell, and it follows Aragorn looking for Gollum before the Council of Elrond. And so we're either going to get a recast Aragorn or a CGI de-aged Viggo Mortensen.
Bad.
And it's just
Both.
like this. The worst thing about this is this already exists. It's a fan film on YouTube. And Warner Brothers was like, I'm going to only put money behind something that I know has a guaranteed audience. The people who made this fan film in 2009 and the people who liked this fan film in 2009. That to me is the most just like, I mean, I get the fan film is an unofficial production, no licensing, whatever. The creator says he's reached an unofficial understanding with the Tolkien estate. So it's not like removed or delisted or anything. But that feels like such a slap in the face to the people who worked on this film to be like, actually, we're doing it for real now. To canonize this fan film and be like, no, we're going to make it 3 hours long. The first of a trilogy, probably.
Thanks to Greenhouse in our Discord, who literally just sent the news 6 minutes ago that Warner Brothers has officially issued a copyright strike against the 2009 fan film today.
Wow.
That's unbelievably crappy.
Oh, man.
13 million views on the fan film, and it just got copyright struck by Warner Brothers, who just decided that they're going to make the movie. Thanks, Greenhouse, for that timely news. You have no idea how timely that was. Actually.
There you go, Greenhouse. Yeah, so we've talked about it maybe on this podcast before, but I've told the pod boys, but some of my favorite wings in Dallas is a pop-up called Lord of the Wings. And I was talking to them and asking them about merch. I'd love to get a hat or something like that. It's just clever, and it's kind of combining two of my most favorite things, wings and Lord of the Rings. And that's for those that couldn't catch that. That's what the combination is.
Oh,
okay.
Okay.
From like the movies and books of it.
And this little
Hunt for
small
Gollum.
business owner was kind of like, well, we're probably going to have to change the name. We're having some issues with the Tolkien estate. They're just not allowing this. So this is the same, in the same breath maybe even. Tolkien estate says, no, you can't. You pop-up wings you small business, bootstraps, trying to be successful, feed your family, cannot loosely name your brand after ours. But here's very likely going to be 9-figure kind of movie with the effects and stuff that they need to do.
Yeah.
Here's
I don't know if the
Hunt
Tolkien estate
for
is like
Gollum.
specifically approving the Hunt for Gollum so much as just sold the IP, sold the licensing rights to to New Line Cinema, then to Warner Brothers 20 years ago. And it's like, well, you just got to watch what they do with it now. But man, I
I don't know
it
what
is.
I can't even think of what it would take for me to be in on this.
I hope that 3 years from now we are eating our words. Like I hope
it's
3 years
amazing.
from now we're like, wow, I cannot believe we doubted this. This was amazing. You know?
No, I have this sinking feeling about 2026 feels pretty soon to release that.
Oh, is it
just
2 years from now?
It's just announcing it in like mid 2024 and releasing in 2026. That feels really quick turnaround for this. But I have this like, I don't know, this sinking feeling about the Hunt for Gollum that it's going to be this like kind of a test of like, okay, are they into like a full CG recreation of some of their characters they loved 25 years ago? Like it wouldn't surprise me if we got a full CG 2001 looking Viggo Mortensen as Aragorn in this movie. Like everything's motion capture. I don't know. I've been thinking a lot, and this is bleak. I've been thinking a lot about the false promise of being a fan of something, the like kind of false ownership that you have over things.
Yeah.
Where it's like, man, as a kid, I loved Star Wars. And Star Wars was my thing. I loved Star Wars Legos, Star Wars video games, Star Wars t-shirts, Star Wars posters, loved Star Wars. And I think the most bleak way to look at it, the most cynical way to look at it is as I've become an adult, I've watched a studio take the thing that I loved and be like, I'm going to do nothing you're interested in with it. And have the thing I love be forcibly reminded that, oh, this wasn't yours. You never owned this. You never had a part of this. And I think that probably is like a similar thing as the big conversation when The Last of Us came out of ludonarrative dissonance, where it's like you feel like you're in control, but like actually we're in charge. We're in control of what the game is, which can work well, but I feel like we're in an era where it's like, you loved Lord of the Rings? Yeah, we're just going to do a bunch of stuff with it, and you're not going to like it, and it wasn't ever yours. It was ours, so you're a sucker for loving that stuff.
Yeah. Doge gets excited to have people over because he's got a new recipe for something, and you put it out, and it's gorgeous. It's everything that you'd hoped. It's it's the perfect temperature. All the ingredients came together. You tested it, and then they were just like, "Do you have ketchup? Do you have any ketchup?"
It's like I made this award-winning chili, and I served it to my
Also,
friend,
I'm
and
gonna
he
throw
was
it
like,
in the freezer. I'm gonna cool this down a little bit.
I knew you were going to bring this up. I knew you were going to bring this up.
It's like, imagine if I made this award-winning chili that was super good, and my friend was like, you know what it needs?
Oh no, is this an actual? Have I walked into an actual thing?
It needs chili lime Doritos. I'm going to serve this. What was it? What was it? Takis. What did you ruin my food with?
No.
Do you remember what? Don't say that, because do you remember what happened when you tried it?
Oh no.
You're sounding like Warner Brothers now. You'll love
Nope.
it. You love Gollum. That
Nope.
nasty little bald guy in a loincloth, you love him. He's going
The
to be
situation
great.
you're describing is actually the one that we're hoping happens, which is where we watch it and we go, actually pretty good.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
That's
maybe
fair.
don't
Warner
maybe
Brothers
don't
too.
bring stuff up when you know you're wrong. Let's go to
Dang.
shout announcements.
Welcome to Shout Announcements.
It's the part of the show where we give shout outs and make
do
announcements.
the whole one. Do the whole one in that voice.
Oh, you're not my dad?
Whoa.
Good point.
Also, I want
you
to
get
say
to
it
tell
sounds
me
like
what to
Elmer
do.
Harkonnen is what that was.
What a rascal you are.
Be very quiet. Hunting Modiba.
Well, if you like how silly we sound in your ears, then you're gonna love how silly we sound in front of you for real in real life. Join Discord.
That sounded like
Patreon.
we're going to find you individually and perform our podcast.
I'm gonna
for you.
come to your house and do my podcast on your front porch. No, we if you don't know, we have a Patreon with 2 tiers, and one of the tiers gets you bonus content, and it also gets you additional votes, an extra vote in all of our voting series and voting polls for things like Spring Delirium or what movies we should watch, things like that. But the tier I want to talk to you about today is our second tier, our $5 tier that gets you access to our Discord community, which is very relevant right now, because if you join today, you will still have time to find out the time and location that we are seeing Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes together for our Two Chunks Movie Club. We do these once a month where we get to go together to a theater with all of our homies and watch a movie that you
fun.
vote on as a member of the Discord. So, yeah, join us for that. It's super fun. I think it's become one of my favorite things about Two Chunks is that we kind of have this community that likes to talk about entertainment and
It's been great.
movies, books, video games, the whole 9 yards. We even have a sports channel for all you sports heads, for all you sportos
Wow.
out
Sports
there.
ball.
But Two Chunks Movie Club, just getting together with friends, and we typically go to like an Alamo Draft House, so there's like a bar and restaurant, so we can grab some drinks and get a snack and like hang out before the movie, and it's really fun. We've been really enjoying it, and there's been a pretty good turnout. So we love going with our friends, and you can be one of those.
Yes. Get on in there. Saturday on the pod is coming up in a couple of weeks. Oh, no.
Yeah.
no. So, Saturday afternoon is back. It's the 3rd season. And it's a big boy. It's because it's bigger and it's got more explosions. We're going to watch Aliens, which is going to be the 5-year anniversary of us reviewing Alien on this podcast. That very
Crazy.
same day of the release. Crazy, wee when you think about it. But there'll be Aliens, there'll be Total Recall. there'll be Heat.
Where do we got to find another alien?
Ooh, not a one for Whipwee.
She's probably going to
It's
put
been a
on
big
a mech suit
robot with
and
big
get
arms.
really mad at it.
Whipway's
it.
got to like, where do we become a robot to fight as
Punch him
Xenomorph this
float.
time?
Punch him in the float. Make sure his other tongue stay inside his head. She. Aliens, Total Recall, because you got to have Arnie. You got to have Arnie.
Yeah.
Then we've got Heat. Oh, what's that? De Niro and Pacino and Kilmer. Okay. We've got Face Off. What if we take Travolta and Nick Cage and switch them and make them play characters and playing each other at the same time? That sounds
What if?
awful. Let's watch it.
What if?
Let's
What
do
if
it
you could do
anyways.
it?
Let's do it anyways. And then Keanu comes back to the pod with maybe what he's modern day. He's probably most famous for John Wick, but for those of us that grew up in the 90s, in the early 2000s, The Matrix was a big deal. I don't know if you've heard of it, but we'll be reviewing that on the pod as well. So get ready for some shoot 'em ups. Saturday afternoon this year is going to be a mix of good and bad, which is honestly some of the best podcast ingredients, I think, for this specific podcast.
Where's the bad on this list?
Face Off is it's like the good bad. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
Like the
I'm
good
with you.
kind of bad.
I'm with you.
It's the Dadder Day kind of bad, where it's not like
Right.
there's
The
no
Dadder Day
real
kind of bad.
there's no real like measure of quality that should
It's
be
a corn
taken into
dog.
consideration.
It's a corn dog.
Exactly. It's the movie equivalent
Yes.
of a corn dog.
Yes. 100%. So, Dadder Day afternoon starts the end of May. So, we're just a few weeks away, and we're going to be doing that all the way up until around the 4th of July. So, prepare yourself, grab your snacks, dust off the grill.
I think
time.
it goes till 4th of July.
I was
I think it goes till 4th of July. No. So, be on the lookout for that.
You've come over to our house. Imagine this. You've come over to our house. You know that we're cooking you dinner, but you smell something else coming from the kitchen. A different scent that you weren't prepared for. And you say, "What? That smells amazing. What is that? What are you about to serve me?" And we say, shh. It's a secret. You don't know yet, but you're going to love it. Now open your eyes. That's happening in real life. We've been working on a secret project behind the scenes. We'll be releasing pretty soon. We don't know exactly when, but pretty soon. We're going to be coming at you guys with something that we are, full transparency. I am more excited about this than I have been about just about anything we've done for the pod in a very long time. So I think y'all are going to love it. And I'm so excited to share with y'all what we've been working on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, honestly cannot wait. But I have to, and so do you.
But we must.
But I promise it'll be worth.
Cannot wait, but we shall.
But we shall.
Shouldn't, but we will.
But we shall.
Don't want to.
It's Two Chunks presents The Hunt for Gollum.
We're going to beat him to the punch. We're going to get it out first.
We're making a short film called The Hunt for Gollum. And we're looking for the
copyright
original
strike.
fan film now that it's been delisted.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Tracking Down Smeagol is what
That's really
it's
good.
called.
Tracking down.
Searching for Smeagol.
Where's that ugly guy? That's the name of it.
Find me my bald man.
Two tooths in a dream. Welcome. It's the show again. I had prepared our friends here, my friends, your hosts, maybe your friends. I don't know. I don't know you. I had prepared them for a back half discussion that was specifically about the future of sort of like the creative space and art. And I had mentioned in the first half that all of our conversations about sequels and just the death of new ideas and blah, 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 all this stuff. We're not doing that anymore, I've decided, because hate the vibe of the beginning of this episode. It's horrendous because there is plenty to look at and be disappointed in and to be frustrated with and to be nervous about and to be sad about if you are a lover of art and entertainment and fun creative things. But what I think is more important is actually there's a lot to be really excited about. It doesn't necessarily look the way we might have thought it would look, and it might not even be with the like IP and franchises and ideas that we would have once thought would be carrying all of our excitement. But I think it's disingenuous, even if we feel it sometimes, I think it's disingenuous to act as though there is nothing on the horizon, which I think this conversation would only lead us to talk like that. And so instead, I would much, much rather have a discussion about all the things that we are stoked out of our minds about. I would, this is a full, this is a full Farley back half. We are taking off the governor and we are going full tilt Farley for the back half of this episode. And I really would much, much rather discuss the things that we cannot wait to read and watch and play and consume and listen to and all of those things. So what has got you absolutely giddy right now? What can you not wait to get your little peepers on, to get your little ears in?
Mine might not even, mine's a little bit out there because it's not necessarily official, but I was having a conversation with a friend about this the other day. That was kind of similar to the front half of this podcast episode. And kind of sitting in Like who do I appreciate right now in the movie business and what qualities do they have?
Sure.
And to be honest, man, I shout out to stubbornness. I think stubbornness is going to make the best stuff out there.
Sure.
When I look at the directors that have enough stubbornness to say, no, thank you, I'm doing this my way.
Yeah.
The creators that say that's going to be, and it feels like they have to put their foot down even harder now, especially with the bags of money that might be offered them and all these different things. But the Denis Villeneuves of the world, to be honest, the James Camerons of the world, Cameron has always been that way. And I'm starting to look at Avatar and say, hey, that's silly to me, but this guy has had an idea for 2 decades.
Sure.
And he's just going to do it, and it's going to be successful. Maybe I should turn on some appreciation for that.
It's his uncompromised vision in the same way that George Lucas's Star Wars prequels, looking back, are like, that feels like it was created decidedly outside the machine that creates everything else.
And there's still space for that.
I kind of feel that way about like Greta, dude. It feels like Greta is just like, I have an idea, I have a vision, now get out of my way, which I really love.
Yep. Jordan Peele, the director, is that way. I don't know if the producer is that way. But when he's got enough skin in the game, he says, I'm actually going to wait, please, and I'm not doing this every year. Mm-hmm. So shout out to stubbornness, especially for those that have the most creative power in those certain situations, because it doesn't feel like some actors can be like that, but you have to reach a certain tier. I think they're down for work. You know, there's the Nick Cages of the world, right? But then there was the Daniel Day-Lewis's, which we don't have as much anymore. But directors, for sure. I think when we have directors that can stand up to production companies and say, no, thank you. Like they're shooting their shot. Like they know that you want me. I know you want me. You're just going to have to wait. Sorry. Like we're not going to do that. So shout out to that, because I do think of when I get excited right now, and it's specifically attached to someone who's creating the film, and I know that they're going to keep working. Tarantino's like on his way out. I was never the biggest Tarantino fan. He's for a long time said he's got like one more. But yeah, the Peels and the Villeneuves and the Gerwigs, that I'm just like, yes, like y'all keep doing your thing, because it's going to work. And I love that.
How appropriate is it that a Gerwig sounds like a creature from Narnia?
It's perfect. I was going to say that. Like that's the next thing that we know she's doing, which is with a big studio. It's with Netflix, but I have confidence in Greta Gerwig, and so I get to be excited. I think in that I don't think she's going to waver there, because she took a shot on a plastic doll and kind of changed movie business right now. So people are just going to shut up and listen, I think, at this point. And good for you, because you were just stubborn enough to just pull through. So that's where I'll start. That's what I'm most excited about, I think, is just the creators that can't be moved.
Yeah, I think I'm excited. Anytime something I feel like has been cooking a while, I have a little bit more faith in it. I think like if we're to think of Hollywood as a kitchen, I trust their crock pot a lot more than I trust their air fryer.
Yeah, totally.
And Adam Scott gave an interview a day ago that said Severance Season 2 is coming in the very near future. Your patience will pay off. You won't have to hold out much longer.
Yeah, dude.
And so I'm excited for stuff like that. That's like actually, I would say Severance is definitely designed for mass audience appeal, but I think Severance also knows that it won't get the mass audience appeal and is saying, that's fine. I'll make my show that I want to make.
Sure.
Very excited for that. And I think that the fact that it's been cooking so long, I mean, I know that the strikes had quite a lot to do with that. But I don't know. I have a lot of faith in that, a lot of confidence in that team.
Fall off the bone.
I thought we were going to lose it. I thought it was.
I did too. I thought it was never going to come back.
Strike. I was so bummed, because talk about an absolute cliffhanger.
Yeah,
the way that first season ends. Oh my Lord.
Yeah,
but
I think
so excited.
Things like Severance, things like The Bear, things like Dune. There are these things that are just made with such excellent touch that it's like you can't help but be excited to see what's next.
Yeah.
And I think that's always really great. So I think those things are, in a world where big franchises, not that Dune isn't a big franchise, but like it kind of has this like scrappiness to it just due to the fact that Denis has wanted to make it for so long.
Well, isn't it crazy that like it feels so underdog and small because there's just 2 movies and they don't connect to a million other TV shows and prequel comics and other movies?
In a world full of like franchise fatigue, these things that are, it's not like The Bear is this big, bombastic, loud thing. It's just making a great story, which is what it's all about. That's something I love. I want to talk about, I've got a bunch of stuff I'm excited about, honestly, like coming this year. Elden Ring DLCs this summer. Hades 2 just launched in early access. I haven't touched it yet, but I can't decide if I'm going to or wait for the full release.
I was going to ask.
I've heard it's great.
Yeah, I have too, dude. And part of me is like, wait for the full release till the game's quote unquote done. Part of me is like, play with it and let it grow in front of me, and that'll be fun too. I don't know. There's video games I'm excited about. There's movies and TV shows that I'm excited about. But I want to talk a little bit about the thing that has become the new Marvel. It has like slotted in to the space that like a Marvel or something used to have for me, where it's like I'm excited for this big, long story, which is like the writing of Brandon Sanderson. I have just become so fully obsessed with his writing, specifically like his Cosmere works, which is sort of his MCU. It's like an interconnected universe of stories and books, and they're just really fun. I'm doing my Cosmere read through, but probably the nerdiest thing I've done. I had my bachelor party was going to Comic-Con with my friends, and probably even more than that, the nerdiest thing I've done is I just bought a ticket to the Brandon Sanderson con in Salt Lake City for December.
What's it called, like Dragon Steel or something?
Yeah, it's Dragon Steel Expo or something like that. I don't know.
Heck yeah.
I have a wedding. I wanted to go so bad, but I have a wedding that I have to work during that.
But if they have early copies of Book 5, I'll buy you one. But
yeah,
that would if I was to go, that would be an experience like I have never ever encountered, because I have only scratched the surface and already love so much of that. But the moment I walk in the door, so many things would be, I wouldn't know what to take and what to keep out.
Right.
There's just like, can you imagine? It's like, here's a celebration of spoilers. Yeah. But it's so cool. You're going to meet somebody who inspired a certain character you've never heard of. It's not going to mean anything to you now.
Right.
But when you read later.
Well, in about 2 weeks from right now, as the crow flies, I will be done with I will be Cosmere caught up. I will have read everything in the Cosmere, and I still think I will just be like, I don't know what any of this is. I've read it all, and I don't really understand any of this. But no, it's just I think what I'm realizing is like there's this ebb and flow sometimes with fandom where it's like one thing kind of falls off, but there usually is another thing that can kind of take its place. And for me right now, it's books, and specifically Brandon Sanderson's books. But that's not to say that it's the same thing, but it is that similar excitement of like, I cannot wait to see what happens next. I cannot wait to see where this goes and what the connections are. And that's really filling that like super mega nerd void in me that just wants to be positively geeked about something. And I'm just really thankful that something like that exists. It's a feeling I haven't had probably since college, of being that like locked into a huge multi-story thing.
It's just such a great feeling. Like even, in the midst of, there's been a lot that I've had to do for my work that has kept me from continuing to read the Stormlight. But to see, the 1/8 of my book that is marked as read, right, and just to know there's just so much left of a book that's not even halfway through the series. Like that's one of the best feelings. Yeah. And to have a confidence in hearsay, like of what I've heard from what my good friends with their opinions have said about what's coming. It's just like, sometimes I do feel myself holding on to that and not wanting to finish. We've talked about that on this podcast before, that it's so good that you're like, back to like a food metaphor. It's like, I do need to eat this green bean casserole before it gets cold because I won't enjoy it as much. But I'm so sad this is my last bite.
But if I eat
my
it,
body
it's
can't
gone.
take anymore.
Yeah.
If I eat it, it's gone. Yeah. So that's awesome, Jordan.
Yeah, I think that part of being a fan of just like stuff, like being a consummate fan of things, is knowing when to shift focus to something else to give another thing time to catch up or to breathe or to get better or whatever. Like my interests, our interests really as a podcast are so, as far as like things that we like to consume, are virtually all of it. Like I don't know what corner of entertainment we don't have an interest in between just the three of us. and it's true. It is so tempting to me sometimes to like mourn a changing landscape of entertainment, to mourn a future that we don't know yet of entertainment, to mourn something that things aren't the way that they were when we were in college and all bonding for the first time over all of this stuff that we love. And there is a sadness in that. And there might even be some justified sadness in that isn't just nostalgia. There might be some justified sadness of like some of these things are changes for the worse. We can't deny that. There will be things as we step forward. There will be things with AI that are frustrating or that feel soulless. There will be things with, franchises and just beating the hell out of sequels is not going to go away anytime soon. And with the wrong IP or just the wrong person at the helm, that is only disaster. So it's like, it's not that I think I'm wrong or any of us are wrong for feeling that way, but I just thankfully have entered this headspace recently where it's like dwelling on that. Not only does it not make the situation any better, but it definitely doesn't make me any better either. Yeah, and I think that like point. There is just so much on the horizon. If you like movies, just knowing that there's Greta Gerwig's and Denis Villeneuve's and there's Ryan Gosling's and Margot Robbie's and there's visionaries, there's actors. If you like music, there's incredible bands and musicians that are working on things right now that are going to blow your mind. There's movies and books and artists that you don't even know their name yet that by the end of the year you're going to be obsessed with.
I love that.
And there's like, it's so easy to get bogged down in the negative stuff because all you want to do is be a fan of something. Like it's a noble thing to want to really like stuff, I think. And it becomes really upsetting when either those things like betray your trust or feel like they're run by people who care more about paychecks than quality art. But there also is so much out there that isn't that.
Yeah.
And it just feels like for me at least, there's room and time to be bummed about that other stuff, but I would so much rather focus on the stuff that does still excite me.
Yeah.
Dude. In my mind, you started like your voice was raised amongst the people. And then you walk up onto this it just happens to be this rock that's a few feet above everybody so that everybody can see you. And all of the world's fans at the end of that are just
Could you take it? I actually think you were muted. Do you mind taking that again?
Did I mute? Yeah, I can start back.
No, you
were. I wrote it down.
Sucks.
I have it all written.
Okay,
There's a script that I wrote. No, I think
it's writ.
Sometimes I feel bad because I have really great friends that I love very much who a lot of what we have bonded over has been shared fandom of some of these things. And then it's like, if we don't hang out for a while and we get back together, they're like, are you so excited for this? I'm like, no, I'm so sorry. I love you, but no, I'm not excited for this thing. And sometimes I feel like a bit of a fuddy-duddy, but I think what it boils down to for me is I am just so willing to jump ship on something where it's just like, I actually don't like this right now, so I'm not going to waste my time being bummed about it all the time. I'm just going to move on. That's called growing up, I think. Same tone, same note from you guys on that.
We wrote that down.
Yeah.
We were like, hey, hit that D flat that's 2 below middle C.
Doge, are you excited for anything?
Yeah, I said Severance season 2.
That's right.
Don't ask me such hard questions, Carter.
I thought of something else, and it's because I did call a turtle at the beginning of this episode.
Okay.
And really what it did was bring to mind the tortoise and the hare, the old story, if you've heard it.
Yes.
I think in Hollywood, the tortoise of it all has been competitive reality television. It has never stopped. It has kept a very similar pace. That is what I'm also very excited about, because I have stuck with things like Survivor for a long time, and it has its dips down, but there's enough people. We talk about that stubbornness.
Yeah.
Jeff Probst, RuPaul, there's enough people that are in control of some of the best competitive reality TV shows. And everyone around them says, do what you want, that I have complete trust in that.
Survivor dip downs, I just want to go on record and put my stamp into the universe and say this season is definitively not a dip down, perhaps a dip up in terms of enjoyment for me over the last several seasons.
Nice.
And that's what I was going to talk a little bit about that too.
Yeah.
Yes. Jeff has confirmed that he just can't fight the audience off anymore, and season 50 will be returners. We're going to bring back
Hey, Carolyn.
former, I hope so.
She's the one person
players.
I feel like is a guarantee.
Yes.
Everybody else is up in the air, but it feels like a guarantee that Carolyn will be there.
Would love
I feel
Cochran.
like
There's a lot of people that I'd love to have back.
Jesse's back for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if we're dipping into pre-new era, then there's almost no new era people that I would prefer to see over older players, but still.
I feel like it's definitely new era, or it's going to be new versus old.
That's what I would love.
Love that.
That'd be a
New era
ton of
versus old
fun.
era.
Because
they've had enough of the new era now that it has an identity.
They could fill out a pre-merge tribe.
That's been great.
Yeah.
That's been good. There is, with competitive reality TV too, it seems really easy for streaming platforms to pick up competitive reality TV shows from other nations and just give us all of those too. Please look into Korean television.
Yes.
Please. We have been big fans of Korean cinema on this podcast for a while, but oh my goodness. The Devil's Plan, Physical 100. Like, there's some really good stuff on Netflix right now. Singles Inferno is essentially their Love Island, and it's what an opposite kind of culture with the same kind of show, which is just fun for both. But definitely watch. I would say watch The Devil's Plan if you like anything that's like a mystery or escape room or Big Brother or Survivor. Do this. It definitely leans with, it's fun. This is a good little pairing. I would do The Devil's Plan. There's one season of The Devil's Plan on Netflix right now and 2 seasons of Physical 100, and they're the same but different. Physical 100 is taking all of these physical specimens and saying who's got the perfect physique, and then The Devil's Plan is taking a bunch of incredibly cerebral and social people and saying which of you is the most clever. And cool. All 3 of these seasons are some of the best reality TV I've seen in the last 5 or 6 years. It's very, very good.
Something that's got me pumped lately is I would consider them maybe not independent streamers. I think that Dropout. Dropout's an independent streamer. Yeah. I think everything Dropout is doing is gold and setting a gold standard for the type of content to release for home streaming. Dropout was nominated for 2 Emmys this year.
Wow.
Comedy Emmys, which is crazy.
Shout out Vic Michaelis.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's
very important
unbelievable.
people is getting an Emmy nomination.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's just
well deserved.
Everything Dropout is doing to me is like, okay, this is the best way to create content in a streaming world. An independent streamer that is not like bound to the whims of any kind of major studio, who's just like, hey, whatever we want to do. It's literally Sam Reich being like, whatever show I want to have my friends do, I'm going to give my friends a show and let them do the thing they do best. Yeah. It's incredible. Yeah. I would also lump in, we've been watching through Taskmaster New Zealand Series 2 on the recommendation of, was it Phil in Discord?
I believe it was Phil.
Our beautiful Discordian Phil recommended Taskmaster NZ Series 2. And it's reminded me of the kind of, I don't know, something about it feels so underground and punk to be like, I'm just going to put my whole show on YouTube for anybody to watch. And I don't care if anybody makes any money off of it. But just that kind of like that scrappy attitude that I feel like is shared with the kind of like more independent side of comedy streaming is really, really exciting for me.
I agree completely.
Dropout just announced they're doing like Dropout Presents, like special, like one-off, like producing like a full, like the Netflix they do with their stand-ups and stuff. Dropout is just like, yeah, we're doing that too. Dropout Presents. And it's like a new like line of longer form one-off specials and stuff.
Wow. Cool, man. Yeah, Dropout is like easily one of the most exciting things happening in the comedy world right now. And like watching it grow and evolve, you can kind of watch it like in real time because they have so much content coming out. Like you can latch on to a particular creator and like watch them evolve before your eyes, which is so fun. And like I was just telling Callie the other day, I think that is the best job in the universe is working there.
Sam Reich.
Just working at Dropout.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be amazing.
Just like doing something fun that you love at a company with like a moral backbone who's willing to put their money where their mouth is and like continue to create fun content that cares. Whew.
Yeah.
Nothing better.
Also, Billie Eilish has a new album coming out in a week.
Yeah.
Very excited for that. There's so much. It is freaking pop girl summer right now. Dua Lipa, Billie Eilish, Beyonce, Casey Musgraves, Taylor Swift. It's a lot of fun.
Can't stop. It's amazing.
Can't stop.
Can't stop. Well, that'll do it. That's technically an episode. And we thank you. We thank you very much for listening to it. As we always do. Thank you. We're never any less or more grateful for you. It's always the exact same. We're always
this exact grateful.
Can I have a recommendation for the sign off? Is that okay to step into that world?
Yeah,
for you,
no,
Jordan?
please.
Can we do like a who's who? Like what is one individual that we would recommend for people to be on the lookout for in terms of what we're excited for the future?
Okay. I think I got it. For 2 Chunks and a Hunk, I'm Jordan. And I'm not going to say Brandon Sanderson just because I did a whole thing about him.
Because he's maybe the most mentioned individual on our podcast because of
Especially
because of how much we've talked about him in the last like 4 weeks.
Yeah. So instead, I'm going to say Jacob Wysocki. Jacob Wysocki is a creator on Dropout who I just think the dude has my number, man. Like every word out of his mouth is the next funniest thing that I've heard someone say or do. Yep. And it feels like there was a season of Dropout where he made, every time he was on the show, he made his buzzer noises with his own mouth. And they were all Star Fox 64 quotes or sound effects from Star Fox 64. And that is like the most narrow-casted, straight-to-me thing
for real
that has ever happened. And I was already in love with him before that, but man, Jacob Wysocki is just like the kind of guy I want to hang out with.
Jack Black was closer to being Jordan Wonders.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like the more you stretch him, the more he's like Jordan.
I just love his vibe so much.
Yeah, an 8'6" Jacob is basically Jordan.
Yeah, he's pretty much 8'6" already, man. He's a tall boy.
Yeah,
he's a big dude.
He's like if Jack Black was friends with us in college,
right? Yeah. This is my roommate, Jack Black. Oh nope, he's become Jacob Wysocki.
I'm Doge, and it is so cliche for us on our podcast specifically for me to say this, but Denis Villeneuve, the fact that he was like, I'm going to fight like hell to make Dune, and I'm going to push really hard to make Dune 2, and then Dune 2 is the biggest movie in the world, and the studio's like, what's next? More Dune, right? And he's like, nah, I'm going to do something small first. I'll come back to Dune eventually, but I'm going to do a smaller project now. Mm-hmm. Just the fact that he, as a creator, is like, I'm going to make only the projects that I want to make, that I really, really want to make. He's been talking about making Rendezvous with Rama. He's a fan of like mid-century sci-fi, which is awesome. And I think he's going to do Rendezvous with Rama really, really well. But just the being able to know when to stand up to studios and know when to capitulate, but say like, yeah, I'll do what you want, but I'm definitely going to do it Denise style. Is just, I have so much confidence in him as a creator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm Carter, and I haven't been out on SNL, but I certainly haven't been keeping up. I would only ever catch the, viral moment that was had. But SNL right now is really great. It's really, really good. They've got excellent writers. And there's always standouts. We had our heyday seasons of like going backwards, maybe like Kate McKinnon, Kristen Wiig, Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, like just kind of going back, Will Ferrell's of the world. Right now, dude, there's a guy that anytime he is on, Marcelo Hernandez.
He's so funny.
He's great, dude.
One of the funniest people in the world right now. This dude, and I can't remember the last time I happened to be watching a new season of SNL and looked at somebody and was like, huh.
Yeah.
They kind of stand out already. Mm-hmm. And you can tell they're already giving, and he's like a featured player, meaning he's an also, right?
He'll be
he's
full
like
cast by next season. It's a guarantee.
100%, but it's just like, I can't remember the last time someone bust onto the scene like this and was so different too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's my kind of humor, and this guy is hilarious. He kind of outshone Gosling in that Miami when they're like he was the funniest thing.
Yeah.
With what the current most charismatic guy in the world, he kind of beat him.
Yeah.
I'm assuming if you watched that episode, you saw Beavis and Butthead, right, Carter?
Oh my gosh.
Yes, dude. That was so good.
Did you see that Gosling and Mikey Day showed up to the premiere of The Fall Guy as Beavis and Butthead?
Yes.
That is so funny.
Could not believe that.
That is so unbelievably good.
On SNL right now, you have Marcelo, Sarah Sherman, Bowen Yang, Andrew Dismukes, just every word out of his mouth kills me. But then you also have like this powerhouse who is Ego Nwodim. Dude, my alarms keep not stopping.
Oh no.
I stop them and
somebody's grabbing their hook and they're pulling you off your podcast
they
microphone.
Just keep going. It's so
That's
crazy.
all the podcast you get.
Episode's over. Ego Nwodim, man, it is like...
Yeah, she's awesome. She feels like she's had a career already for decades, and they're like lucky to have her.
Yeah, I know. It feels like somehow
wow, she's doing SNL again, huh? Wow.
Right. She came back. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good time to get into SNL. I also my quick 30-second soapbox before we get out is I feel like people don't get SNL. I see a lot of criticism of SNL when it's not particularly funny, and it's like SNL is live sketch comedy.
Right.
That's not happening anywhere else on television where you are getting a live sketch comedy variety show.
Yeah.
That's why you watch it. You don't watch it because it's the funniest thing on the planet. It's live sketch comedy with some of the most brilliant writers and like funniest.
I feel like the same people who offer that criticism of SNL though are the people who are like, it's just not as funny as like Anchorman, dude. And it's like, all right, well, that's fine.
Which ironically was born on SNL.
That's amazing.
So anyway, I guess that's how you get clicks.
That's probably, as I've been reviewing the tapes, I would say that my definitive conclusion is that that's how you get clicks.